Time power is out and trees are down across the region tonight.
Yeah, this is the scene on Harrington Road. This is out in Rockville. A tree blocking the road in a neighborhood that way. Fox 5's Josh Rosenthal live in Bethesda with more on the damage that we're already seeing tonight. Josh?
Yeah, guys, I'm standing in the 5100 block of West Cedar Lane in Bethesda, and this is an example of some of that damage that you just heard Caitlin talking about. Take a look over here. You can see this big tree fell over into this home here again on the 5100 block of West Cedar Lane. According to fire officials, they say that they got a call about this at about 4:25. They say the tree fell into a home. An electrical outlet caught fire. Thankfully, they were able to get here quickly. They put the fire out. There have been no injuries, and of course, the home for now has been de-energized. There's no power running through this home, as you would expect. Now, I can tell you, we just were able to speak with one of the people who lives inside of this house. His name is John Edwards, and he says that he was actually sitting inside of this room. If we can look at the corner of the house, right by where that tree is, he was sitting inside of a room right where this tree fell down. I believe he told me it's an office in there. He said things started shaking. It felt like a bomb had blown up. That's his words. That's what he told me. He said he wasn't sure what had happened at first. He says it was himself, his wife, and also two workers in the home. And get this, not long after that tree falls through, he hears this bomb. He's trying to get his bearings. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He says from the basement where his wife and the workers were, they said, "Fire, fire, get out." They come upstairs running. Well, now we know that was this electrical outlet that had caught fire. Again, thankfully, despite all of that happening, everybody is okay. As I told you, we just spoke with John. He was actually going to do a live interview here. And then the fire department, which he went out of his way to say they've been absolutely wonderful. They told him that this was kind of his opportunity to go back into the house and see what's still in there. I imagine get some belongings. So they're in there now. Of course, we said, go, do what you need to do. In particular, after being through this kind of trauma, amazingly to me, John, extremely lighthearted, in high spirits, just thankful everybody's okay. I am assuming that he's not going to be allowed to sleep in here tonight. The good news is he says that does not matter. He said he's got a very kind neighbor who's going to put them up for the evening. But guys, again, just one example of some very serious damage that we're seeing tonight throughout the region. For now, back to you.
Okay, appreciate it, Josh. New this hour, a pair of construction workers in Gaithersburg sent flying on unsecured scaffolding here. Look at this video. Happened at an apartment building along Fields Road. You can see that the two were about 9 stories up when that scaffolding just starts blowing in the wind back and forth. The pair had to escape through an apartment window. Neither of them were hurt, thankfully. The scaffolding, meanwhile, has been secured since.
A manhunt now underway after a deadly shooting at a birthday party. The Fauquier County Sheriff's Office says 16-year-old Samuel Ojeda died Saturday night. Fox 5's Bob Barnard is at the scene with what we know.
Even though there were potentially dozens of witnesses to the crime, nobody has been arrested or charged yet. Now, the murder happened here. This is the Rancho El Alazan here in Catlett, Virginia. Happened around 10:30 Saturday night, and yet this property is still a crime scene, still being guarded by sheriff's deputies. Now, we put our Skyfox drone up over the ranch this afternoon. On Saturday, it was hosting a quinceañera, a girl's 15th birthday party, with as many as 100 to 150 people here. The Fauquier County Sheriff's Office says deputies first came to this location around 9:30 Saturday night, responding to complaints from neighbors about loud noises and gunshots that people were hearing. While they were here, deputies witnessed a fight, heard a gunshot, and soon discovered a 16-year-old boy shot and mortally wounded. They attempted CPR. Now, one neighbor telling us it wasn't out of the ordinary to hear loud noises and/or gunfire in this area.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, there's always stuff like that going on over here. You know, we're used to hearing that, so it wasn't really anything new for us. But
was it particularly bad on Saturday night?
Saturday, I wouldn't say it was bad. Definitely wasn't bad. We weren't thinking anything bad happened at all, you know, until we seen the fire trucks and the police cars pulling up, and, you know, so that's about it. But this was definitely like the last thing we were thinking that was going to happen, you know, and it's a tragic.
On its Instagram page, Rancho El Alazan shares photos of the weddings and other events they have here. Some of the property's neighbors have been complaining online since the shooting about the parties hosted on this property. Sheriff's officials say the gunfire that deputies first responded to Saturday night was actually coming from an adjacent property, which they were going to then check out when they witnessed the fight and responded to the murder here. The Fauquier County Sheriff's Office says they're hoping to identify and arrest the murder suspect shortly, but as of now, have not done so. Guys?
Thank you, Bob. Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy is back with that team today, days after deputies say that his son shot his wife in their Loudoun County home. Bieniemy returned to training camp in Missouri. His son Elijah is charged with malicious wounding and multiple firearm offenses after allegedly shooting his mother and Bieniemy's wife last week in Ashburn. The 27-year-old is now undergoing a mental health evaluation. D.C. police identifying the 18-year-old woman killed in a shooting over the weekend as Jeremiah Banks of Northwest D.C. Banks was shot on K Street in Southeast early yesterday. It was happened in the morning. At this hour, though, police say that they are searching for 3 suspects now, last seen in a silver sedan. No word on the make or model.
Todd Blanche sworn in as the 88th U.S. Attorney General. He took the oath at the White House this afternoon. The Senate confirmed him on Saturday after a contentious confirmation process over the president's nearly $2 billion anti-weaponization fund and the Epstein files. Every Democrat and 2 Republicans voted against him. Blanche had been acting AG since Pam Bondi was fired in April. President Trump is overhauling childhood vaccine recommendations despite pushback from public health experts. He signed an executive order today that recommends only giving 1 vaccine per visit. It also calls for separating the measles, mumps, and rubella or MMR vaccine into 3 shots, which are not yet available in the U.S.
So at year 1, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children.
The order also directs the Department of Health and Human Services to improve vaccine research. Happening now, the Purcellville Town Council is holding a special meeting after a member resigned. Loud Now reports Susan Khalil is stepping down in the middle of her 4-year term. The embattled council has been rocked by recent controversies. Khalil said in a statement the opposition she faced during her 18 months has been too much and not worth the cost. Other members have pushed back on her characterizations. Tonight's meeting is to figure out next steps.
More to come here on the 6th. Severe weather risks remain for parts of the DMV when the system will finally clear out.
Plus, tomorrow marks 1 year since President Trump declared a D.C. crime emergency. How effective have the thousands of National Guard troops been at preventing crime? That answer at 6:30.
New closures start on the GW Parkway. The detour drivers will need to follow. Plus, Homa Bash is live in the Fox 5 newsroom tonight. Homa?
Guys, the death toll is climbing as the search for survivors continues in Colombia following today's devastating earthquake. We are getting the latest from the ground coming up after the break.